In this video, Kim and I are going to give you a basic overview of the processes that move people forward from the first hearing of their call through licensing or ordination. In the Western North Carolina Conference, people, younger folks and older folks, are called out of many different contexts to serve as licensed local pastors or as ordained deacons and elders. They may hear God calling through their service and participation in the life of the local congregation, through the activities and opportunities provided to college students by our Wesley Foundations and campus ministries, or by participating or serving as a summer staffer at one of our camping ministries. These are just a few of the examples of places and spaces where God's call continues to be heard. We also provide opportunities in addition to these places for continued discernment. The Conference Vocational Discernment Team has created an online curriculum which you can learn more about at adventuresinministry.org. This curriculum helps invite high school students to spend time with a mentor to gain clarity around how God is calling them to be in the world. There's also the Explore Summer Internship, which allows college students between the ages of 18 and 25 to spend 10 weeks serving in a ministry context with a clergy mentor as they explore their call. Once a person discerns that they want to formally explore their call, they need to have a conversation with their pastor or an ordained clergy, who will recommend them as an exploring candidate to the district superintendent. The district superintendent will meet with them and have a conversation to get to know more about them and about their call, and to help them to discern if this is the right time for them to declare their intention to become a certified candidate for licensing or ordained ministry. If the discernment yields a yes, the Office of Ministerial Services, our office, receives a request from the district superintendent to invite the candidate to a Discerning My Call workshop. Before the workshop, our office makes sure the required documentation such as biographical information, psychological assessments, and background checks are collected and in order for each candidate. During the workshop, candidates learn more about the candidacy process. They meet leaders who will be part of their journey, and they're placed in a mentoring group led by 2 ordained clergy that meet for 6 sessions over a span of about 6 months. After this time of discernment, a candidate will determine if they want to meet with the District Committee on Ordained Ministry, also known as the DCOM, to become a certified candidate. Candidates will be given questions to respond to in writing to submit to the DCOM. Next, they'll interview in person with the DCOM. Then the DCOM makes the decision whether to certify the candidate or not. A person can be a certified candidate for up to 12 years. Certified candidates meet annually with the DCOM for continuance interviews. During a person's time as a certified candidate, it is expected that they are working to meet the educational requirements for ordination. Kim will share more a little later about the educational requirements. But it is so important that a candidate know what seminaries are approved by the United Methodist Church. A lot of time and financial resources go into earning an MDiv. No one wants to hear that the seminary they attended is not approved by the United Methodist Church. Certified candidates are eligible to apply for ministerial education funds to help with the cost of seminary. MEF applications are accepted by 2 deadlines each year, August 31st and December 31st. The application is available on the conference website. Once a person is certified as a candidate, they can also be considered to serve as a licensed local pastor. It is important that the candidate have a conversation with their DS to express their desire to serve in this role and to see about the availability of an appointment. It is recommended that this conversation with the DS happens well before the candidate's meeting with the DCOM. It is the role of the DCOM to determine a candidate's eligibility to serve as a licensed local pastor. And as with certified candidates, the DCOM also meets with the local pastors annually to consider continuation of their license. Now, Kim is going to share more.
Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about those who will meet with the Board of Ordained Ministry. After they've come through the processes that Annalee has described, they're ready to apply if they have the educational requirements for provisional membership. The educational requirements for provisional membership must be completed by the time they are commissioned at annual conference. For elder candidates, they can either come the local pastor route, which is course of study and advanced course of study, or have a Master's of Divinity. For deacons, they can have a Master's of Divinity, or they can have a master's degree in a certain area of specialty, along with the basic graduate theological studies, or a prescribed seminary course list that they have to take. We make sure that they've met the educational requirements or will meet them by the time they will be commissioned in June. So at the point somebody's ready to apply for provisional membership, they can do that in July. The assignments are also posted on the conference website July 1st, and the applications are due by August 31st. So for people who have applied for provisional membership, they spend the fall working on the assignments. There will be a subset of assignments that are due to the District Committee on Ministry, usually around December 1st, and then they're going to meet with the DCOM, the District Committee on Ministry, before Christmas. If the DCOM approves them to move forward toward the Board of Ordained Ministry, they will finish all of the assignments for the Board of Ordained Ministry, which are due by February 4th of this year, or of 2021. Then they will interview with the Board of Ordained Ministry in March, and if the board approves them, they will be commissioned at the annual conference meeting. These interviews, the Board of Ordained Ministry is interviewing candidates for provisional membership based on their readiness for ministry. Once we have our provisional class, once they have been commissioned and they become provisional members, the expectation is that they will participate in a residency program. We call it REOM, Residency in Ordained Ministry, and it's a mentoring program. All of our candidates for ministry, all the way from certified candidacy through local pastors until they finish their educational requirements, and provisional members are all in a mentoring program of some sort. In REOM, the mentoring program has an online curriculum, and they meet with their residency groups that have 2 leaders who are clergy in full connection to lead them, and they meet monthly all day long for a period of 8 or 9 months. They do that every year until they are ordained. It takes a minimum of 3 years of residency, or the equivalent of full-time appointment, for someone to be eligible, for a provisional member to be eligible for full connection. So once a person's service requirement and participation in REOM have been met, 3 years full-time, then they are able to apply for full connection. And that happens really the same way provisional membership did, with the application be available in July, the assignments posted on July. For full connection, you don't go back to the District Committee on Ministry. You submit your full set of assignments to the Board of Ordained Ministry in early January, and then you interview with the Board of Ordained Ministry in February. And at that point, we're looking for effectiveness or fruitfulness in ministry. You can be a provisional member for up to 8 years. So while you can be eligible for full connection after 3 years, you have up to 8 years to actually come into ordination or full connection. And otherwise, then you have to be discontinued. So once you go through the full connection interviews, if you are approved by the Board of Ordained Ministry, you are ordained at annual conference and become a member in full connection. And at that point, the process ends, because ordination is kind of the final step in the preparation process, although we do expect continued lifelong learning for all of our clergy. There's one more relationship I'm going to tell you about called associate membership. An associate membership is a relationship with the annual conference that is eligible to local pastors who have the experience that's required, which is the equivalent of 4 years of full-time ministry under appointment. There are educational requirements that have to be met, including the basic course of study, which is a 20-course program offered through our seminaries, and 60 hours of undergraduate work. And you have to be willing to itinerate and serve full-time to become an associate member. What an associate member is and how it differs from local pastors essentially is that you have like a permanent license. So you still operate under a license for ministry, but you get to keep that license and have ministerial authority in retirement. Also, associate members have security of appointment, meaning they're guaranteed an appointment. And they're eligible for some things that local pastors are not, like a leave of absence. We don't usually have too many people apply for associate membership, and so not all of the interviewing discernment teams will meet with somebody that has applied for associate membership. Some years we don't have any, but we do it at the same time that we do our full connection interviews, and essentially have similar expectations, because a lot of the ultimate expectations of service in the church and itineracy and guaranteed appointment are the same as especially full connection elders. So a lot of the expectations in the interviewing process is the same as that for full connection elders. We can talk more about that. So this gives you an overview of who the Board of Ordained Ministry will meet with and what the processes are that they have gone through to get to this point, and then something about the processes that the Board of Ordained Ministry will experience with these candidates. We'll talk a lot more about it in person and answer any questions you might have.